Ladies and gentlemen of the old world, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between Khorne and the High Elves here on the Eastern Isle Colony. It's going to be myself with Valkia and getting a little bit hog wild with Skarr Bloodwrath as well. So Skarr is a character a lot of people probably don't even know about, because I can't remember the last time we've seen Skarr in a tournament game, like straight up. It's been a long time, but basically the cool thing about Skarr is he does imbue an aura to nearby units that gives him armor sundering. So something like a Chaos Warrior of Khorne suddenly becomes very viable against White Lions of Grace and against Silverins and armored units, which is fun. I think the aura is a little bit small. I think it's like 35 meters, but you can hit like 2 units with it. So that's kind of the idea. I was figuring maybe there's some High Elf armor coming in. Let's see if it helps the Warriors out. Plus, he looks really cool. We got Wrathmongers to punch through armor as well, Valkia to battle monsters, and a couple of Marauder Horsemen here as well. So that's going to be it for my army. Now for the Great Anticity, he's playing the ODM Classic, which is a lot of archers and good ammunition conservation. So Shadow Warriors, Shadow Warriors, Shadow Warriors, and I think there's a Shadow Walker in there. We have Larry the Radiant with Tempest and Earthblood. And then we do have a Sea Elemental. So Sea Elementals will be pretty good against Khorne, I think. Although I really think these things should have magic damage. I mean, yeah, it's literally like an elemental. Wouldn't be surprised if it did some magic damage, but yes. It is not bad. Anti-infantry monster, 70 melee defense, can hold its own, and normally High Elves would probably have some issues with the armor check, but having a big armor-piercing monster that's relatively durable, I know it has 0 armor, but it does have a bunch of Phys Res at perfect vigor, and also when it gets low, it splits into multiple models, which is cool. So Tempest is going to be activated from Anticity, dropping it on Valkia. And we do get the Lothern Bolt Throwers move again. So the Sky Cutter is going to be charging into melee versus the Chaos Warriors. Not really doing a whole lot of damage, but, kind of trading there and tickling each other's pickle. But he does bait me forward a little bit, and he used the Sky Cutters, which then made me come in with the Marauder Horsemen, which then they get shot by the Shadow Warrior. So nice little combo plays there. And here comes the dreaded Sea Elemental moving into the Chaos Warriors, and it's going to be Splish, Splash, Take it a Bath. Skarr Bloodwrath getting in, chopping onto the Elemental and doing some damage. So far, okay trading. I've taken a little bit, but we are getting a lot of damage onto the Sea Elemental. It's getting whooped on pretty good, but he does have Larry. So Larry is going to be able to drop some fat heals, and we sundered 0 armor. Yes, the big plays right there. So Collins, Minotaurs with great weapons, hoping that they'll be able to fend off some of the big threats here, like the Sea Elementals, but Shadow Warriors and Shadow Walkers? All Shadow Walkers? Okay, it's a combination of both, mainly Shadow Warriors. They don't have the best AP, but, that's enough of them. 5 of them shooting at a Minotaur, any target, really. I mean, you can see that 70 armor does not go very far for these Bloodwake Berserkers. So I was super bummed about that. I was like, God damn, that hit pretty hard. So pulling back is the Sea Elemental and the 2 Chaos Warriors of Khorne going to be sitting on the objective. And I saw he wasn't really playing this point, so I'm like, all right, we're going to send a Warrior up to Objective 3, see if we can get away with that. But he'll probably just call it a War Line or something like that. So Sky Cutter's charging into melee. They do have decent weapon strength of, it looks like 54 apiece. Not doing a ton of damage against the 110 armor of the Chaos Warrior, but still being disruptive. Valkia going to be flying into the backfield a little bit, so we're going to be diving, going a little bit deep for it, and looking to get a Sleipnir, while, some sort of witchcraft going down here, Tempest on Valkia. Sleipnir does good damage against the Shadow Warriors, but doesn't kill any models, so their efficiency is still going to be high. Fleshhounds of Khorne being called into the other side, while the Sea Elemental continues boinking me pretty good. And really, really good control with the Shadow Warriors, able to melt my Horsemen and counter that play. So the Horsemen definitely a weaker link in this build, but Skarr and old Valkia still going. They're going to be battling versus Silver Helms. Armor is now sundered. Warriors hanging in there. They have a decent amount of HP considering they've been fighting a big old behemoth. Minotaurs eating a lot of focus fire there, while we do threaten to take his back objective. The Warriors and the Wrathmongers have made their way around here. And in response, he calls out the company of Calandarian, which are the ship's company Arawar. A very good unit. I think very point effective. I think they're only like 500 something, and they have great stats. Valkia a little bit trapped up here, but battling old Alariel the Radiant. An opportunity for me, for Captain. Every time I hear opportunity, it's an opportunity for Faramir. But yes, we do get in, and we are attacking Larry. Chaos Warriors going to be surging forth, and more Chaos Warriors going to be diving into the Archer line. Calling here are going to be some Silver Helms, which are scary, a good counter against town units. Wrathmongers, though, they're moving in, and they're going hard in the paint. Wrathmongers will rip apart Silver Helms. It's going to be a great fight for these bad boys as they whip it and hopefully drop some of those. Minotaurs do get on top of the Sea Elemental, but it does have the Writhing Mists, which gives it, I believe, just missile block chance. Yeah, it's like an AoE thing right there, but the Minotaurs do get pounded, which felt bad. Larry over here, though, in a bit of a precarious position. She's actually a little bit trapped up on the Bloodwake Berserkers. So the Bloodwake Berserkers will take her down very quickly, and Valkia is going to be jumping in to help out as well, while the Skarr Bloodwrath and the Warriors do get on top of the archers. So suddenly I'm like, okay, I have a chance. The early game I was like, this is going bad. I'm losing pretty bad here. But now the value is, within striking distance, and, we were able to get his Lord here. So Ilariel the Radiant does get karate chopped by Valkia. The Fleshhounds and the Bloodwake Berserkers and the Warriors are pushing these units back, and we do get some Horsemen rallying there as well. But the Sea Elemental will be able to methodically pick apart these Chaos Warriors. I did have to yield this point. It would have been stupid. These two Great Weapon units would bully my Chaos Warriors, unless I had the support of Skarr Bloodwrath, which would have maybe been a good idea to send Skarr over there. Warriors surging up and surging up. Anticity continuing to pull back. I do have the double cap sitting at about 500 points right now. On the backside, we're going to be calling in the Slaughter Guard. So I figured there was going to be a reckoning, right? Like, I knew I was down in value. I was very overextended, trying to keep him off the objective. So I was like, okay, there's going to be a counterpunch coming soon. So let's get the Slaughter Guard in here to deal with it and hope that, he runs out of ammo soon. The Bloodwake Berserker is still getting it from the shots here, and Sleipnir going to be going down from Valkia, so it's going to be a good one. Able to really, really rip down that line there and get us some good money value. And Skarr Bloodwrath and company still fighting here, giving the Chaos Warriors armor sundering, as well as the Hounds, so we do sunder the armor down of these Reavers in various units. Sea Elemental, though, is going to elboink. It's going to really, really beat down these units here, and yeah, it's looking pretty menacing. All right, there it goes, popping up, and Skarr is probably going to get routed here in a minute. Skarr currently sitting at 29 leadership. And now it's time to fall back on the objectives. Thankfully, I still have Bloodwake Berserkers. Value on them is only 700 so far, which is kind of rough. Horsemen have been getting hammered as well, and Khorne is going to be coming over to reinforce this objective. The Slaughter Guard, though, will be very, very nice here. They do have 130 armor, even though they don't have shields. That 130 armor will mitigate a lot, but my opponent does have cost-effective AP. He does have the White Lions of Crace, also has the Sea Elemental, so there is a lot of stuff there that's going to be tricky, despite the fact that Slaughter Guard can hold. Calling in more Khorne because it's pretty much all I had in call-ins. Ideally, I would want something a little bit different, but Khorne, it's going to have to be them. It will have to be the Khorne, and I really need to hold this objective. Valkia is going to be going after the Sky Cutters, and a lot of Archer fire shooting into the Khorne here. It feels really bad, but look, somebody has got to eat those shots. I'd rather it be the Khorne than my Slaughter Guard, although I guess Slaughter Guard can maybe endure that a little bit better. More Khorne, saving up for now. I'm sitting at about 925 supplies. Anticity saving up for something big, probably going to be like a Fireborn or something. Wrathmonger is basically just getting Last Samurai. They do charge in and are going to get a little bit of a fight in on that Sea Elemental, but most likely will be broken. Valkia in the sky, battling versus the Chariots and doing some damage. I find that the Sky Cutters are just so incredibly hard to take down. I think they have bugged hitboxes, but hard to say. Slaughter Guard moving in. Silverhelm's going to get obliterated. I don't know if he noticed these were Slaughter Guard, so they will be able to hold. And the Archers are shooting at the Khorne back there. Khorne hemorrhaging models as a Tempest does go down on Valkia, but we will use Demon Shield in response, which is going to give Valkia indestructible, and she will continue on her merry way. More Khorne in, and we are putting up a fight here on the objective. Slaughter Guard are engaged versus the Sea Elemental. Larry is back, though. So I did take down Larry earlier, but he was able to resummon Larry, which is nice for me in a way, because instead of more units coming out, it's Larry. On this side, I do move up with my Chaos Warriors, but I should have fought this. This was a mistake. I thought these were White Lions of Crace. The Chaos Warriors would easily be able to beat that ship's company. So I ran. That was a huge blunder there that potentially could come back to get me. We'll see. Slaughter Guard fighting it out, and you can see the Sea Elemental's kind of getting whipped on a little bit. Slaughter Guard are accruing 800 value so far. Khorne and Hounds moving around the flanks. Shadow Warriors running a little bit low on ammo, which I have to say was a very relaxing moment for me. I was like, we're finally getting through it. And at this point, I was like, all right, we're kind of cooking. Despite being down in value, it didn't feel like it was too horrible. I'm obviously on the back foot, but we just need to hold long enough here while the Chaos Warriors continue running. Really, really should have turned and fought there. Minotaurs with Great Weapons are going to come in. Now that he's a little bit low on ammo, I'm hoping that they'll be a little bit more sustainable. On the backside, Khorne do get overrun by the Fireborn and the Silverhelms, plus the Sky Cutter and melee, and also the Sea Elemental. So Slaughter Guard, though, are really, really the backbone of my army here. They're holding hard. Skarr Bloodwrath is in there, and providing the armor sundering ore is kind of cute, putting these guys down to 60 armor right there, so not the worst thing. Or it could probably be buffed a little bit, to be honest. And yeah, remnants of Khorne and Minotaurs coming in. The objective is starting to flip, and the Chaos Warrior is going to be turning to fight now, I believe. Can't recall, maybe still trying to run there. But yeah, Slaughter Guard probably just going to be overwhelmed. And the problem is all these Shadow Warriors, even though they're out of ammo, they still provide capture weight, right? So he's going to have so much capture weight here. And they're also honestly decent fighters, especially the Shadow Walkers. They could get in and fight the Slaughter Guard and have, decent performances. So that objective is going to be flipping for us. However, Slaughter Guard's still getting a lot of value here, probably up to about 1,500 by now. Let's go ahead and check, as they have been fighting pretty good value targets. Yep, about 1,600, so they're going to pay for themselves for sure. Getting the Sea Elemental low, dragging down Silverhelms as well as Reavers, and putting a bit of a hurt down on the Fireborn as well. In the back objective, Chaos Warriors fighting, but the Sky Cutter Chariot's going to swoop across, and here they come, and the Eagles will be feasting. You can see they come down with the Talons, and that's how they do their damage. Marauder Horsemen coming to try and help out a little bit, but the chariot damage did give the company of Kalendarian the advantage versus the Chaos Warrior here. And back on this point, we do get the capture rate back a little bit. Sea Elemental's kind of getting whooped on. Slaughter Guard, I still think there's a couple left here. Yeah, we got 30 of them left. Unsummon's going down to the Shadow Warriors instead of using them for capture weight. He probably figures he's got enough capture weight here, so unsummoning one of those, it's not a bad idea to get a refund and also get them refreshed in the pool. Fireborn being worn down, Valkia the Bloody having done a ton of damage this game, 3,200 value on Valkia. I'm a big Valkia fan. I often get Khorne mains coming to me and telling me that Valkia sucks and there's better options, which yes, of course, Skulltaker's really good, the Herald's really good. But, you know, I'm an OG Valkia enjoyer. I think that she's very solid, Sopnir, and yeah, a lot of great utility. You know, good at diving artillery, being disruptive, and just very, very tough to kill too. But in this case, I mean, we're completely overwhelmed. The Star of Avalorn able to get a beautiful heal on his army. Back objective's going to be taken. And ladies and gentlemen, that is basically going to be it. So really, really fun game. It was cool. I think that Skarr was all right. Probably just getting, like, honestly, 2 more Chaos Warriors instead of Skarr would be a huge win con. Wrathmongers were all right, but probably didn't even need them also. I think, like, we were kind of in... We had, like, our feet in different, you know, our hands in different cookie jars, you know? Like, we were leaning into the armor check build, but if you want to armor check somebody, you need to really bring more. And Skarr is so expensive, and so are these guys. So probably just going more warrior. And for ranged, yeah, I like the Slaughter Guard. You could definitely mix in some Khorne halberds in the armor check. I think that could be nice. Just really make the Shadow Warrior not effective. But yeah, he did the classic ODM goodness, going back to the old Zyphos days of using just immaculate ammunition conservation and target efficiency. Yeah, just solid value on those Shadow Warriors. And the Sea Elemental did really good. 2,400, the Bolt Thrower Chariot 1,800. Was really able to put hurt on my Minotaurs. And the Shadow Walkers at 1,600, I love to see it. The Kalendarian company did all right. And for us, good value on the Slaughter Guard, despite, you know, fighting insurmountable odds. And yeah, Skarr got 1,000, but Valkia really was the gore queen this game. She carried as hard as she possibly could. All right, folks, that's it for tonight. Take care of yourselves. Well played to Anticity, and we'll see you on the other side.